the ground sort of just shook, and it moved around, and I got a little dizzy. But everyone else around me said that it was an earthquake.
And then it stops, and I go in the room and I says, Ange, did you feel the floor shaking? She looks at me like I'm nuts, right? She goes, I didn't feel anything. I go, I'm telling you, I was sitting on the bed, the whole bed was shaking. She goes, I didn't feel anything. I says, all right, I'm turning on the news because there better have been an earthquake or we're getting the hell out of this hotel.
He was probably the best person that we talked to all night. So back out here live at this Strat. Again, everything is back to normal. No reports of injuries or damage, which is the good thing here. A lot of people obviously scared, a lot of people who haven't felt an earthquake before. We did get a chance to talk to some people about how that felt. They said it was a very weird feeling. They felt sick afterwards, is what a lot of people have been saying to us, and you'll hear from them coming up in just a few minutes here on 8 News Now. Reporting live, Shakayla Alvarenga, 8 News Now, back to you.
Thanks, Shakayla. That's exactly what we were hearing. Feeling sick, dizzy, vertigo, and then also the very similar descriptions of chandeliers shaking, pools lapping over, and things moving within the house in terms of all the people that were weighing in with us online the minute it started happening. So seemingly a very similar experience valley-wide, from northwest to southeast, southwest, everyone kind of describing the same experience.
Right. Las Vegas Boulevard, Rainbow and Russell out to Providence. This was a widespread event for a lot of people home at 8:20 on Friday night, so they certainly felt it. Let's check in with Sasha Loftus, who's been talking to other folks in different parts of the valley. She's joining us now from Tropicana and Decatur. Sasha?
Denise and Brian, a lot of people we spoke with out here, actually most of the people we spoke with definitely felt it, and they said they had never felt anything like this before. Now, I also just got off the phone with Dr. Josh Bondi. He's a geologist at the Las Vegas History Museum, obviously has a wealth of knowledge about this subject. Now, I'm sure you guys have mentioned some of these before, but we'll go ahead and reiterate for our audience here. So the actual magnitude, everyone's saying 6.9 to 7.1. He said that officially won't come in for about a week from the USGS. Now, also, he said he'd never felt anything this big in Las Vegas, here in Las Vegas. Definitely quite significant, as he mentioned. And he said there also, as you've been mentioning, will be a lot of aftershocks near the epicenter, though, which of course is in Ridgecrest, California. So we might not feel all of them here in Las Vegas. And while it was a larger magnitude there, here we felt the rolling effects of that earthquake. So what we felt here in the valley was what he assumes was more about a 4.0 to a 4.5 magnitude earthquake, which, hey, is still pretty significant to feel here. And he said it was also a rolling earthquake. It was called a Raleigh wave, which moves kind of up and down. The Earth's crust moves up and down rather than side to side. Now, we also, as I said, spoke to a lot of people here at Tropicana and Decatur who were out and about. Some were at the gym, some were at home, some were even in their cars.
I was sitting on the bench at the gym, and like literally I got pushed. Like I felt like somebody pushed me in the back. And then it happened again, and I was like, the heck was that? I looked at the lady next to me, and she was like, did you feel that? And so yeah, it was crazy. I'm from the East Coast, so I don't experience earthquakes, and I felt a little out of place.
We were actually at the stoplight on I-15, getting ready to get on I-15 from, I couldn't tell you because I don't really know, but we were sitting there and the car started to shake, and I said to my family, I said, I think this is an earthquake, right?
Yeah, she was begging to see an earthquake, and when she heard about it in California, she was like, dang it, I wanted to see that earthquake. But then she was like, that was so cool about the earthquake.
Now, back out here live, another thing that Dr. Bondi said is important not to be scared. I mean, you can, of course, prepare. That is very important. But he said for those of us who are nervous, he said Nevada and Las Vegas are built to withstand earthquakes, built to earthquake code. But Brian and Denise, as you've mentioned, he said it is important to get an earthquake preparedness kit. Just get ready, be prepared, know what to do when you're in that kind of situation, because I know a lot of us, including me, from Arizona, have never experienced anything like this. So again, just best to be prepared and stay calm if something like this does happen again. For now, reporting live, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
Yes, Sasha, that 72-hour emergency kit is essential. 5 to 7 days of water is recommended. Also having a fully charged battery-operated flashlights and radios, first aid kits that are stocked up, emergency earthquake kit, phone chargers, and also tonight's probably a good idea to meet with the family and say, what is our emergency plan in terms of the chance of this happening again? A 5% chance listed by the U.S. Geological Survey that there could be a larger quake within the next 24 hours. And as Ted was talking about, we can expect even smaller quakes for the days and weeks to come. So a good opportunity tonight at 11:05 as you're watching 8 News Now to have a chat with your family and say, what's our plan? Right, especially in these next day or two when there might be more incidents. We want to thank some of our viewers for sending in video of what they experienced tonight at about 8:19. Let's see if we can roll that one right now. This is inside of I believe this is the CVS store, is that right? Oh, this is in California. Okay, this is up in the Coachella Valley, going out to Palm Springs, Indio, that area. As you can see, for some reason, it's all these hanging light fixtures that really show just exactly how long and rolling this thing was. People just, especially if you're upstairs, the first thing you want to do is get down to the ground floor. Listen to these folks just screaming and reacting to this thing. That is seemingly the telltale sign, isn't it? And you saw many people heading down the stairs. This is another Facebook viewer who was with us who sent in a YouTube link of this video in Las Vegas of a lot of shaking. The chandelier is going fully back and forth. Wait for the dog. The dog's like, I'm out of here. The dog goes behind the couch. Yeah. Smart dog. This viewer lives in a high-rise, shared this with us while you guys were on doing that Facebook Live. And you can just see things are rocking and rolling, and the dog's like, I can't get out of here fast enough. But that door just on that hinge rolling around. So, you know, if you're up there 15, 20 stories high, like, you know, Sasha was saying, we have earthquakes proof buildings, but it's still very unsettling. Hey, we're only a single-story building, and this is our newsroom, and made us a little nervous tonight. We didn't have a dog to give us the 30-second to minute heads up. We need a mascot here at 8 News Now. This is our newsroom. We started our Facebook Live about 60 seconds after the earthquake started, and this is video that was taken. Really look at our television monitors. That bed of monitors did a pretty good swing back and forth, as you can see. As they are hanging down there. And that is what everyone does. They walk out, they look at each other, earthquake, earthquake, you feel it, I feel it, and then everyone looks up. And that's what we did as we all started to start our Facebook Lives and take calls from you, as so many people wanted to call the news station and say, this is what we just felt. Can you confirm it? Is there an earthquake? And people also calling 911, which, as a reminder, you know, that's only for emergencies. A lot of dogs reacting to what happened tonight. Just asking, hey, was there an earthquake? Yes, there was an earthquake. Please don't call 911 and clog up those emergency lines. We did speak with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue earlier tonight with Tim Zamansky. He confirmed there have been no reports of, no calls for service is how he described it. So it looks like a lot of water coming out of pools, a lot of people just, you know, nervous about what happened, especially coming off what happened yesterday. But right now, no damage, no one injured. Not the case in Southern California, but here in Southern Nevada, it looks like we just sort of rolled through it, and we're going to be talking about this one for a while. I can't be certain with the last video, but it looked like Tommy Bahama's in Town Square, and that surfboard was really doing some surfing back and forth. So we're seeing that throughout. Also, something on social media that kept popping up about a tsunami warning, and we just want to know, the experts have said there is no tsunami warning. That's straight from the U.S. Geological Survey. There is no tsunami warning at this time. So if you're seeing that on social, we do want to deflect that. We have our reporters around town, including Shakayla Alvarenga, who's talking a little bit about what happened at the Stratosphere as people were leaving. Shakayla?
Good evening, Brian and Denise. Yeah, we have been near the downtown area of Las Vegas, I should say, for a while now. That earthquake again happened around 8:20 this evening. Everything is back to normal here at the Strat Las Vegas. But when we got here, about 10 to 15 minutes afterwards, after that earthquake, we saw a lot of people in the back of the Strat who just decided to evacuate this building by themselves. So they were on the 19th floor, and a lot of people that we talked to, they said that the lights were swaying. They said that it felt like the building was actually swaying, and when they went outside and looked at everyone, they all collectively decided to run down those stairs and get to the ground. And here is a little bit more about what they said.
Never having experienced an earthquake in my life, being from down under. At first, I thought just a big gust of wind, and nothing this similar to what I've experienced before. And it just kept going and going. The curtains kept shaking, TV was moving, the bed was shaking, and at that stage we realised that it's an earthquake, and just ran down the staircase.
I thought it was like a big dream. I woke up and he just said, "Get your bag and let's run for our lives." And I went, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And then he goes, "There was an earthquake." But I actually felt it was a big dream. I've never really experienced an earthquake before, so we sort of like ran out, and everyone around us, they were running.
That couple is from Australia. This is actually their first night in Las Vegas, and they said this was definitely an unexpected surprise. So again, back out here live at the Strat. We did see earlier before that the ride up top at the Strat, that it had stopped. It is back up and running. We know that there were a lot of people that were worrying about that part as well. But a lot of people that said that they felt this earthquake here in Las Vegas said it was scary. A lot of people were waiting to actually feel one after yesterday, so maybe you felt it tonight. And we did get a chance to speak to some people over at First Friday as well. If you remember, it is First Friday. A lot of people out there having a good time with their friends when they felt that earthquake, and you'll hear from them in just a few minutes here on 8 News Now. Reporting live, Shakayla Alvarenga, 8 News Now, back to you.
Well, this is a trip those people are never going to forget.
That's exactly it. They are saying,
never forget it.
We're from down under. We don't experience this, and it's happening right now. I wanted to piggyback on something you said earlier. You were talking about an earthquake this big being potentially an aftershock. I was just looking at comments from Lucy Jones of Caltech saying in an earlier press conference that a magnitude 6 aftershock or 6+ aftershock would, quote, not be surprising. Just to piggyback with what you said, because again, many people just not experiencing earthquakes of this level, and thinking, wait, could this be, after what we experienced at 10:35 a.m. yesterday, could this 8:19 p.m. quake be an aftershock? So an interesting comment there from Caltech.
I think if there was another earthquake of bigger size at a different location, then you could possibly call that another earthquake. But since this is on the same fault line, basically same location, then I think it could be considered an aftershock. Of course, that would be up to the geologist to determine that. I've actually been talking to Dr. Bondi, and he said that they're still trying to determine if it is an aftershock. But I would just say that I think if it's in the same spot, same epicenter location, it would be considered an aftershock, because it just looks like it was another aftershock, but just bigger, basically.
For those just jumping in, that epicenter in Ridgecrest, California, 11 miles northeast of Ridgecrest, which is in the Mojave Desert, about 150 miles from Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, and you can see also the location on your graphic on your screen, guys. This right here indicates exactly where the recent aftershocks have been occurring. And of course, you can see where Ridgecrest is at right here. And notice, look at these aftershocks just outside or in Ridgecrest. So, and Sasha made a very good point that we want to talk about, is these guys here in Ridgecrest felt the 7.1, because right now it seems like it is a 7.1, while by the time the wave of all that reaches us, it's more of a 5-point magnitude quake by the time it reaches us, or even a 6. So we certainly felt it, but this is where the big tremors were really occurring here at Ridgecrest. And the red colors you see right here indicate the latest ones too, reported by the USGS, but the yellow colors indicate the ones that occurred earlier today. So of course, a big cluster right here. There's a fault right here. Notice this started to spark off some of these up here in the Sierras too, with some aftershocks too. Nothing here in Nevada, but it's all occurring here. Notice here's the distance between our location and, let's say, the epicenter. Okay, so that would be right. Let's go right up here. The epicenter right here to Las Vegas. So really not too far away, guys. Look at that. We're talking 136 miles from the epicenter, which is why we really felt those waves happen here. Now, one thing we can expect for sure, aftershocks are still going to occur. We saw it from the previous one yesterday. That 6.4 one we had thousands of aftershocks afterwards. I felt one at 5 a.m. this morning, or about 4 a.m. this morning. And then, of course, there's still a slight chance we could get a bigger quake than this one. This is a 7.1. That's a pretty big size quake, actually. Could it be bigger than that? Maybe. 5% chance. Is still possible. We haven't seen this magnitude of a quake since in 20 years, since 1999, okay? That was the Hector mine earthquake south of Barstow. The good news about that one, it was a big one, but again, it was away from populated areas, so of course no real big damage. We do want to remind you to please have an emergency bag ready. My brother lives in San Francisco. He did the right thing. He's had to deal with numerous earthquakes. So of course he has the water, like you talked about, ready, the flashlights ready, everything else. Just an emergency bag, and not just for earthquakes, any emergency we could have out here,
flooding,
right?
anything, fire.
And one thing, like we talked about, is the aftershocks. It may not even just be days. This can go for a couple of months, and it has happened before. So seeing this happen is certainly something we don't see every day out here. I mean, the last one, like we said, was 20 years ago. So getting these aftershocks has got a lot of people by surprise.
It's been an interesting 36 hours.
It really has.
And it feels unique, yet again, the U.S. Geological Survey keep pointing out this is actually not unique. With those mechanics of the two faults, they're saying this logically makes sense. And they would expect this kind of movement and this kind of activity.
Listen, they could tell us 20 times, but when it happens again, you're like, whoa, it's a wake-up call, I think, for a lot of people.
I think that's an excellent point. And in addition to what you said with the emergency bag, a meeting place. If, God forbid, you can't get home where you typically would meet, having a meeting place. And this is a great night, and tomorrow morning over coffee to talk about all this
Or
stuff.
even for the employers, too. You know, obviously, people will be at work when this is occurring. It might be something that needs to bring up. One thing, though, what's really interesting about earthquakes, and I remember this being brought up in meteorology school, is I can forecast the weather weeks ahead of time using long-range forecasts. Okay, I can tell you what's going to happen as we get closer to the event, but the problem you have with earthquakes is there is absolutely no way to tell us the size of the earthquake's going to happen, when it's going to occur. We have great technology, but we just don't have that technology to tell us when an earthquake is going to occur. Even with USGS and everything they do, you notice we would have given you fair warning if we knew this was going to happen. So you just kind of rely on certain spots where it happens. The aftershocks are, of course, right there at Ridgecrest. They kind of knew right there at this point it's still possible in that specific area. So that's the problem we're running into these days, is you just can't pinpoint when an earthquake is going to occur. So that's the difficult part about the USGS.
Well, and took a lot of people by surprise tonight. I think we're going to be joined on the phone right now by Kathy Brooks, one of, thousands of people home on a Friday night, just kicking back on the couch, watching TV. Kathy, are you on the phone? Can you join us?
I sure am. Hi.
Hi there, Kathy. We talked to you earlier tonight, but you had a really good description of sort of what you felt. You're from California. You've lived in Las Vegas for quite some time now. So tell us what it was like for you, because you're not too far from downtown Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, I'm right in downtown. I'm right in the Huntridge district, and it definitely, when I was in San Francisco, there's, two kinds of zones of quakes. Usually there's a strike and slip zone where the plates kind of rub up against each other, and then the subduction zone where one plate kind of dives down under the other, and they tend to give kind of two different kinds of feeling of an earthquake. There's some earthquakes that feel like really almost like somebody shaking your chair, and there's others that feel more like you're on the deck of a boat, more like you're kind of riding waves. And these definitely felt more like waves. Like my chair, the sofa that I was on kind of almost felt like I was sitting on a boat. And it kind of rolled a little bit. And when I looked out at my pool, it was definitely, the water was undulating, just like you would see if you were, sitting on the dock of a ship.
Kathy, are you sure you don't freelance for the U.S. Geological Survey? Because the way
I took a class in college that I never knew was going to be useful on plate tectonics. So it was a class I threw in my senior year in college just for fun, and it turned out to actually be, I think, my most useful class at university.
Listen, you use the word undulating. We're going to hire you, Kathy.
Well, it comes in handy when you've lived in California and Nevada, two of the most seismically active states in the whole country. I mean, so this is a wake-up call for a lot of people. You're one of the folks who has your go bag ready, right?
Yeah, my go bag is pretty ready, and it made me pull it out of the closet. First of all, it shouldn't be buried deep in the closet. It should be at the front of the closet where you can grab it readily, and just checking to make sure everything in there was up to date, nothing was expired. I made a list of things. I'll be hitting up Lowe's and Costco and Walgreens tomorrow just to stock up on the first aid kit and bandages, make sure the go bag for the dogs is ready also. That I have bandages that I can use if the dog gets injured, and bowls for them and food for them and any medication. And just it's all about being prepared. I heard you guys talking about having a meeting place. Another really great idea is if you have a family or a group of friends where you can have a person who's not in the physical area where you are. So, for example, if I can't get a hold of all of my friends locally because all the cell towers get overloaded, I might be able to get out a call to someone outside of the area. So kind of like having a central person who becomes almost the central calling point so that people can check in and just let everybody know that they're okay. But it's a great opportunity. I went across, I talked to my neighbors across the street, my neighbors next door, and it's a great opportunity to get to know your neighbors, and if there's an elderly person on your street, making sure you're aware so that they can get taken care of. Knowing pets that are in other people's homes, so if your neighbors aren't home but you know that they have pets, you can take care of that as well. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us as a city to also think about the community that we are and make sure that we take care of each other.
Kathy, your information has been helpful all night. Earlier in our conversation, she also talked about resisting that urge to run outside. Right. And instead, getting under a sturdy piece of furniture, using a doorway if it is safe. It's not always safe, but if the doorway is safe, and staying away from bookcases and furniture. So I second Denise's call that you have been enormously helpful, and your 22 years in San Francisco provided you clearly with a wealth of experience.
All right, Kathy, stay safe.
Glad
we appreciate you
Absolutely.
Calling in, and have a great night, and stay safe this weekend.
You as well.
So let's head over. Kathy's kind of not too far from downtown Las Vegas. Let's head over now to Trop and Decatur, where Sasha Loftus has been talking to people and gathering some of their input from what happened tonight. Sasha?
Yes, Denise, everyone we spoke with around this area says they definitely felt that earthquake. And you mentioned Nevada being one of the most seismically active states in the country. I did a story on this about a year ago when an earthquake was felt around Nye County, around the Pahrump area. And I was told that there is a fault line, actually one of our biggest fault lines, right down the street, right near Flamingo and Decatur. If you look closely, you can kind of see the bend in the earth there, which is a little scary to think about. But we did speak with an expert this evening, Dr. Josh Bondi. He is a geologist with the Nevada Natural History Museum, and he tells me that this is the biggest earthquake he's personally felt here in Las Vegas. And it is, of course, scary to think about, and you should be prepared, as you guys were mentioning. Have that kit ready, have a plan ready with your family, have a meeting place, etc. But he said that Nevada is prepared. Las Vegas is prepared for earthquakes. We're built for it. We are ready. So definitely, he said, you shouldn't worry too much. You shouldn't be too scared. Take a listen.
People here in the Las Vegas Valley, we don't need to be scared. Again, most recent construction in Nevada is built to earthquake code. If you're really concerned, go out and do a walk around of your house. Otherwise, just living in Nevada, we should be earthquake prepared. So it's a good excuse to build your earthquake kit in case we do have a strong one in southern Nevada. But other than that, we should be safe.
Again, good advice there, and it is easy to say that until you feel it yourself. It's definitely a jolting feeling, I believe you mentioned earlier, Denise. But as we've mentioned again, just be prepared, be ready. And as people out here said, that it was definitely scary. It was an experience, and a lot of stories. We're hearing more here again out near Tropicana and Decatur. For now, reporting live, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Sasha, for that report tonight. So we had a lot of events. It's a Friday night in Las Vegas, and there's concerts and athletic events and all kinds of things going on. NBA Summer League sold out tonight. John Treach was over there, and about 8:20, things took a big turn. The action was no longer on the hard court, right?
The focus shifts quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I was talking to you at 8:19. I was talking to you, and I said, hey, I was at Fashion Show Mall getting dinner, and all the MMA fighters and NBA players that aren't on the court or in the octagon are at the mall, and then it hit.
And then it hit.
Tell us what happened.
Well, I tell you what, Pelicans rookie Zion Williamson was the most seismic thing expected to hit Las Vegas in years, but even his most rim-rattling dunks don't register 7.0 on the Richter scale. Zion came out flexing, and the people responded. 18,000 Hoops fans filled the Thomas and Mack for thrills and chills. They got more than they bargained for. In the fourth quarter of the Pelicans and Knicks marquee opening night matchup, a buzz filled the arena as the building began to shake. The state-of-the-art brand new scoreboard and speakers swayed, and fans quickly realized it was an earthquake. Some felt it, some did not. All agree they've never been a part of anything like this.
It was nuts. I was bringing the ball up and I felt like someone was like pushing my hip, and I kind of like got a little wobbly, but I've never experienced that ever. It's crazy.
I didn't feel it. I just saw everybody start running around, running out the gym. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't feel it though.
We try to prepare for everything that we can, any natural occurrence that we can control, but some things are literally out of our control. There's always a clause in every contract, act of God, when we experienced it tonight.
Walked out of the Thomas and Mack Center alongside the Denver Nuggets, who just wanted to hoop. The Nuggets and Suns' first game of Summer League was postponed for precautionary reasons. The players were joined by fans and trying to understand the chaos and commotion of this historic night in Las Vegas.
We were in the building, and my daughter, who has motion sickness, was like, "Dad, I think there's an earthquake." I'm like,
"I'm getting sick." My seat started shaking. I was feeling dizzy, like I was on a train. And then everyone starts screaming, standing up, "Earthquake, earthquake!" And it was
yeah, the cameras, the lights were rattling, and it was pretty scary. People started to run out, evacuate, and that was our first earthquake, so it was a little nerve-wracking. But she kept me cool, as they always do, and I was ready to run out there, but it was pretty scary.
Games at Thomas and Mack are glorified scrimmages. As for the Aces and Mystics, their game counts, but the earthquake doesn't discriminate.
A little earthquake happening.
Wow.
Yep, we're feeling it.
The building is shaking. See the Jumbotron overhead.
Second quarter, and the professional athletes on the court at the Mandalay Bay Event Center lose their balance. The Aces were down 15, but the scoreboard became hard to read because it was swaying. The game has been suspended at halftime. Play will resume at a later date and will be announced on WNBA.com. To the west, Los Angeles hitter Kike Hernandez was shaking in the batter's box, but it wasn't because of anybody's fastball. Fourth inning of Padres at Dodgers tonight when Dodger Stadium, the third oldest stadium, begins to rumble. You can see the center field camera shake uncontrollably. The fans could feel it, but many of the players say they weren't aware. Dodger Stadium is 150 miles from the epicenter of the earthquake in Ridgecrest. As you can see, that fair ball is swaying, and that had to be disconcerting to those 50,000 fans there.
But they kept playing.
They kept.
Yeah, those are
LA just kept on going.
Your people are a hardy stock.
They sure are.
When it comes to earthquakes, they sure are.
Yeah, that's right.
Do a little 1 minute break. Okay, let's resume. Play ball. Let's go. Let's get back after it.
Yes.
Oh boy. All right, John, thanks for that. A lot of sports events disrupted by what happened today. And thank you to our viewers for sharing some of this video with us. This is something we're seeing a lot with these pools, going up and over the edge of the of their perimeter, and that's when people look outside and they're like, oh wait, hey, oh, it is an earthquake. That isn't just us, it's happening all across the valley.
Yeah, people were, the dream of whitewater rafting in your backyard pool came true for some. That one is actually rather mellow. We've seen a few with full-on waves in the pool and it lapping over the side. There is one that has a little bit more activity, or maybe the same pool at a later time. But surveillance video and cell phone video is coming in fast and furious, and we do remind you, PIX at LasVegasNow.com is a place that you can send your video or pictures. Yep, still going. And that is a way we can get it on air, and we thank you, all of you who joined us on Facebook. Some 84,000 strong at some point weighed in, and a lot of comments and pictures, and we appreciate it.
So I was out on the south end of the Las Vegas Strip tonight at Mandalay Bay, where you're not too far from where the Aces were playing. Felt that sort of rolling motion sitting outside going, oh, wait a minute, I remember this feeling. I haven't lived in California for 15 years, but I remember what this felt like. Headed over to the Welcome to Las Vegas sign just to talk to some folks. I think we've got some of those interviews that I grabbed a little earlier tonight.
I felt it, yeah. It was like being on the bridge, on the freeway, when you feel like it's bending. Yeah, scary, yeah.
I would have just thought that it was a plane landing, or because we get the engines from the plane all the time.
But I mean, you work here at the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. We get earthquakes in Nevada. Do you remember feeling anything like this?
No, and I'm a native, so born and raised, school, everything.
This is a pretty strong one.
Yes.
Born and raised, and never felt anything like you felt tonight.
Smart of you, go to the welcome sign. You know there's going to be people, right?
Look, I talked to a lot of tourists, and they weren't used to it, so they didn't really know what they had felt. But yeah, that's what happened about 8:20 tonight.
Yeah, it was really some kind of night. We have a few more people we want to check in with, including Shakayla and Ted again. But first, Shakayla, and talking a little bit about what was going on the north end of the Strip in terms of people evacuated and some of their feelings and reactions. Shakayla?
Well, Brian, as you mentioned, it was, of course, a shock for visitors. Some of us were wondering if this earthquake would happen again. A lot of people that we talked to said they were scared, especially some people who were on the 19th floor of the Strat, scared like me. I think I wrote on my Twitter page, I'm not about this life, though. The good news, no injuries or damage to report, thankfully. We did take a walk to First Friday as well to talk to people there about what they felt on the earthquake.
I was standing over there and the ground sort of just shook and it moved around and I got a little dizzy, but everyone else around me said that it was an earthquake.
And then it stops and I go in the room and I says, Ange, did you feel the floor shaking? She looks at me like I'm nuts, right? She goes, I didn't feel anything. I go, I'm telling you, I was sitting on the bed, the whole bed was shaking. She goes, I didn't feel anything. I says, all right, I'm turning on the news because there better have been an earthquake or we're getting the hell out of this hotel.
And some people didn't even feel the earthquake at all. Back out here live at the Strat Las Vegas, everything is back to normal near the downtown area. But of course, you can stick with 8 News Now as we continue to follow this story on air and online at LasVegasNow.com. Reporting live, Shakayla Alvarenga, 8 News Now. Back to you.
All right, Shakayla, thanks for that. We should emphasize no reports of any injuries or any kind of damage here tonight. Much different story in Southern California, but everyone here in Las Vegas just a little rattled, a little unnerved, but nobody hurt.
Yes, and if there's any more in terms of earthquakes, again, you're encouraged not to call 911. And again, there is no tsunami warning, something that we were seeing a little bit earlier on social, looking at more of videos sent in by you of pools moving back and forth, and there's also a lot of movement in homes. People immediately turn the camera and the cell phone camera upwards to show what is shaking above.
All right, it is a July evening. A lot of people outside. Let's get in with Ted Florindo right now, get a quick look at our forecast.
Yeah, guys, of course, it's a nice warm night tonight. Wind speeds have decreased quite a bit. We'll see some of those winds occur again for tomorrow, but not strong enough for any advisories. We'll just call south breezes for tomorrow. Temperature 76 in the morning, 103 by the afternoon. Lots of sunshine. Again, your winds, I'd say between 5 to 15 miles per hour. It's going to be a hot day for tomorrow. Extended forecast does show increased cloud cover on Sunday. No showers, no monsoon expected. However, we start to get towards the end of the week next week. We could see some of that seep its way in. And guess what? The heat returns 108 a week from today. Back over to you.
All right, Ted, thanks for that. A very busy Friday night here in Las Vegas as we take you out to break here with more videos sent into us by our viewers. So thanks so much for sharing this natural event with us tonight.
And make sure to make that emergency plan and stock up. Tonight's a great night to do it. Thank you for joining us on 8 News Now. More on LasVegasNow.com.
Be safe.